anytime you go for a cause, there's a reason behind it. So it's really disappointing, but it was a situation that we had to act swiftly, and I'm proud of how the club have dealt with this matter.
These women have been crying for help, and no one is paying attention to their cry.
We've set such a bad precedent that the tiniest little examples of human decency impress us, and it's not impressive.
For it to be a recycled statement is just, I almost would have rather than been silent.
Supporters tonight protesting in teal, the color that signifies sexual assault awareness, in search of meaningful, systemic change to protect players.
We're going to make sure the team is held accountable.
Silence filled Lynn Family Stadium tonight, but the message spoke volumes. Fans want the club to fire Racing Louisville's team president.
The club's former coach is the center of an investigation revealing sexual abuse allegations across the National Women's Soccer League. WDRB's Katrina Nickel tells us why fans sent their message. Katrina?
That's right, you guys. Well, tonight was a Lou City soccer game. Supporter club organizers said fans of both teams came together tonight as one community because they want to make sure that management, the club management, takes ownership and responsibility for what happened.
Swapping drums for posters, purple t-shirts for teal ones, cheers for silence.
And these women have been crying for help, and no one is paying attention to their cry.
Fans of Lou City FC united with Racing Louisville's fans at Wednesday night's USL Championship matchup.
Since racing season is over with, this is a good time to show our solidarity, to let them know that we are supporting them.
On Monday, the findings of an investigation into the National Women's Soccer League was released. It detailed the sexual harassment allegations former player Aaron Simon faced from former coach Christy Holly.
This is not something that happened overnight. This is something that's been going on for a long time that should have been stopped.
What supporters want is written on their shirts and in chalk outside the stadium. Arrest Holly and fire JOC, standing for James O'Connor, the president of Racing Louisville.
And we're going to support them, and we're going to make sure the team is held accountable.
O'Connor's only statement on the report was released Wednesday afternoon, hours before Lou City took the field. He called hiring Holly a mistake and that they have worked to ensure a safe environment for players. But they are words Robin Pryor, president of Lavender Legion Fan Club, says she's heard before. O'Connor met with the support club leadership after firing Holly last year.
The only difference was he included the player's name, and last year he did not. For it to be a recycled statement is just, I almost would have rather than been silent. Continue to be silent.
Okay, blow the fucking whistle.
Two of the team's sponsors as well have come out with statements, GE Appliances and Barrel Craft Spirits, both saying that their future sponsorships are contingent on the league and club making changes. Live outside Lynn Family Stadium with photojournalists Greg Shapker and Josh Horton. Nickel, WDRB News.
Katrina, thank you. Aaron Simon, the former racing player who accused Holly of inappropriately touching her, posted on Instagram tonight. She thanked people for supporting her and giving her the motivation to continue making a change. She also says her faith helped guide her and allowed her to keep smiling. And Simon says she hopes people impacted by what's come out recently will lead them to continue supporting and growing the game of soccer.
Former player and team captain Michelle Betos responded to President O'Connor's statement today. Betos said the club acknowledged they fired Holly within 24 hours of learning about the sexual harassment alleged by player Aaron Simon. But she says it was the bare minimum. She said it was too little, too late.
We've set such a bad precedent that the tiniest little examples of human decency impress us, and it's not impressive. What's impressive is doing something when somebody tells you something, not making it be this awful thing, preventing it before it happens. And then, honestly, if your priority is the players, then you put the players first, not the club's reputation.
When Holly was fired last September, Racing President James O'Connor said it was disappointing, but they acted swiftly. At the time, O'Connor was asked if Holly was fired for doing something illegal, and this was his response.
I don't know whether I say illegal, and I don't know. That's a subjective viewpoint, if you like, depending on who's asking and different people. So I'll plead the fifth. I'll take the attorney line on that. Yeah.
O'Connor did say firing had nothing to do with performance. At the time, sources told WDRB some players complained about the situation within the club. They claimed Holly fostered a toxic environment. O'Connor defended the club's culture.
That's something that we take extremely seriously. So for us, everybody is going to be treated with the utmost respect, and I think part of building any culture is committing to it, and that's something we do every day here.
And WDRB's Eric Crawford was at Lynn Family Stadium tonight. He describes how Louisville is becoming increasingly weary of scandals.
Well, it's a more raucous atmosphere here at Lynn Family Stadium now. The Louisville Coopers and the bands are going, the drums are beating, and the banners are unfurled. But in the first half here, it was a lot of silence. No signs, no hoopla, no revelry. For a city that has seen its share of scandal, from Breonna Taylor and that ordeal for everyone, through multiple University of Louisville athletic scandals, to now this with Racing Louisville FC and a horrible story of sex abuse by a coach. This city is tired. This city has a lot of fatigue. And this city has a lot of frustration that showed tonight in the first half in silence. Because it's silence that is the problem. And it's the silence of team ownership that they are protesting, and it's that silence that they want to end. Things got rolling here in the second half almost as soon as the drums sprang to life and the fans started cheering again. Louisville City scored, even the score, and now they've gone ahead, which shows that maybe some good things can happen. Hopefully the city, through all of these ordeals, can learn lessons, put them into action, and make good things happen out of some of these horrible events that we witnessed. From Lynn Family Stadium, I'm Eric Crawford for WDRB Sports.
And WDRB has followed this story from the day Christy Holly was fired last year to the protests at tonight's game. We will continue to bring you the latest on the fallout from this investigation. And for more reporting, go to our website, WDRB.com. And to get up-to-date notifications as it happens, download the WDRB app and remember to turn on the notifications.
Mark Weinberg's WDRB weather forecast has the seal of approval from the American Meteorological Society.
All right, Mark, it is about to get cold. I saw the 30s on your screen over there.
Yeah, we're going to see some chilly air moving in. In the meantime, though, it's not that bad out there. I think we're going to see some 80s tomorrow, and then I think the change arrives. And as Gil noted, it is definitely legit. Around the area right now, notice radars are quiet within our area. However, you can see in Illinois, some green. Chance of a couple of showers, something we're going to talk about. You can see they are spotty at best. But that area that is southwest of St. Louis does have a trajectory that would move it in our direction. You know, here's the problem. It's not that there won't be clouds across our area. That will produce some showers. The problem is that the dew point is just so low that even if you get rain from the clouds, it really is tough in this level of a dry atmosphere to really get that rain down to the ground. And so here's advanced track at 2 a.m. You'll notice we're mostly clear, and then we see those high clouds really starting to increase as we go towards daybreak. And that should kind of put a floor on our temperatures tonight that is warmer than the last couple of nights. And so I've got those clouds increasing. At 3 a.m. 53, and I think by 7 a.m. we're going to be at around 50 degrees or so. The potential for showers does exist tomorrow with some warmth. I'll talk about the locations that have the best opportunity, and let's talk if there's any real potential for any accumulating rain, any legitimate rain, in 10 minutes.
Now on WDRB News.
There are hundreds of unaccounted for people, minimum.
Who would have thought that we'd have back-to-back disasters in Kentucky?
I had no idea how fast and how deep that would get.
It's very heavy. There's a lot of sorrow.
We recognize that our state is hurting. We need so much help here. It is unbelievable.
Heartbreaking flooding in eastern Kentucky. We will get to that story in a moment. But first, a new order late tonight means abortions are banned once again in Kentucky.
WDRB's Lindsay Allen explains the court ruling and the action the ACLU says it's taking within hours. Lindsay?
Well, Hayden, tonight the Kentucky Court of Appeals sided with Attorney General Daniel Cameron. We spoke with Kentucky's Family Foundation, which calls the ruling a victory for unborn children, but also for the rule of law.
There's a battle playing out over this issue, but it's really a final desperate attempt by the pro-abortion businesses to continue to operate and make a profit on ending the lives of unborn children. And thankfully, the appeals court has reinstated the enforcement of the law.
So the order reinstates the Kentucky Human Life Protection Act and heartbeat law. The court granted the Attorney General's motion seeking an emergency stay of the Jefferson Circuit Court's temporary injunction that prevented those 2 abortion bans from going into effect. Again, that means abortion is banned in the state as of tonight. The only legal exception is in the case of an extreme risk to a mother's health. We also spoke with the ACLU tonight, which represents the 2 abortion clinics in the state, which are in Louisville. Both the EMW Women's Surgical Center and Planned Parenthood are no longer allowed to perform abortions. The interim executive director tells me appointments for patients scheduled for as early as tomorrow morning have now been canceled.
Without this temporary injunction in place, it means that people who are pregnant and have made a decision that they no longer want to be pregnant are forced to now remain pregnant against their will, or they are going to have to flee the state of Kentucky in order to receive the care that they want.
And the ACLU is taking action right away and says it's preparing to appeal to the Kentucky State Supreme Court as we speak. Kentuckians, meantime, are set to take a vote in November on a constitutional amendment that would define there are no protections in the state constitution for abortion. Lindsay Allen, WDRB News.
Thanks, Lindsay. Tomorrow, an Indiana House committee will hear testimony on the Hoosier State's efforts to ban abortion. Saturday, the Indiana Senate voted to ban nearly all abortions with exceptions for rape, incest, and when the mother's life is at risk. Republicans who hold a supermajority in Indiana have disagreed on how strict the law should be, but GOP leaders in the House seem to favor the Senate's version. Lawmakers are considering the abortion ban during a special session called by Governor Eric Holcomb.
There are hundreds of unaccounted for people minimum, and we just don't have a firm grasp on that.
The devastation in eastern Kentucky continues to take a toll on those who survived and those who are looking for survivors.
That death toll is at 37 people tonight, and hundreds more are still missing. The state says 12,000 people are without power, 25,000 don't have water, and 400 are in shelters. Governor Beshear has ordered flags to have staff for the victims of the flooding through next Monday.
The damage and destruction in eastern Kentucky, when you see these pictures, it's just gut-wrenching.
WDRB's Conroy DeLucia and photojournalist Zach Crabtree got a first-hand look.
The destruction in eastern Kentucky stretches across several different counties for miles, and this is just a small little glimpse of what we've seen in Knott County. This is the edge of Hindman right off of 550, and in this one little small area, you can see the creek has risen way higher than it has been in years past. Trailers tossed, a bridge washed out, homes destroyed. But the story is not things in this area. It's not the houses. It's the people who lived in them, the communities that they built. And here are a few of their firsthand accounts.
Then it poured and poured, and I went to sleep about 11:30 and got up at 2:30, and it was already up and under the house. 2 hours, it probably would raise 30 feet. And then 2 more hours, it would raise 20 more feet. 5 hours, it raised 50 feet, probably. I'd say. I mean, like a dam broke or a big cloud burst.
I have been at my home and down the road searching for my sister-in-law and praying that they find both her and Amy. And my sister-in-law's, her name was Vanessa. She's a wonderful person. And so was Amy. But I guess God decided he needed them more than we did.
No cell service whatsoever. Couldn't text.
Stayed in a barn on the hill for 2 nights. The floodwater just came up fastest it's ever came. It's probably 10 feet higher than it's ever been. It had never even got close to the house. It got my house and garage, and I've lost vehicles, but nothing compares to the life of my neighbors.
You've lost some neighbors.
Yeah, there's at least 6 of my neighbors dead, and so material things don't matter when it comes to life.
Every single person that we did speak to across eastern Kentucky told me the same thing. They're heartbroken by what they've seen and what they experienced, but they're relieved that they made it out alive, because more than 30 in this region did not, and that death toll continues to rise. In Knott County, Conroy DeLuche, WDRB News.
A rescue team in a helicopter pulled an 83-year-old woman up from her flooded eastern Kentucky home.
20 feet below. I am coming up, so. You're not set. Roger. 4115. 10 feet below. Roger. I got you. Cool.
Did you hear Wally's traffic?
Got the floor. I did. At the door, bringing her in.
This video shows crews from the Wolfe County Search and Rescue and Kentucky National Guard in Breathitt County. The team was told that woman and 4 of her family members were trapped in an attic. One team reached that family by boat to get them up on the roof. One of those family members broke their collarbone but has already been released from the hospital.
So months after one half of the state was ravaged by tornadoes, the other is now recovering from its own natural disaster. Families forced to take shelters in churches, many of them not knowing what their next steps will be. As WDRB's Darby Bean and photojournalist Emily Evans show us, just like in December, the Louisville community is stepping up to help.
Loading trucks and trailers full of supplies. Louisville's Veterans Club is headed to eastern Kentucky, and this group is making sure to not show up empty-handed.
I mean, who would have thought that we'd have back-to-back disasters in Kentucky?
Thank you. All too soon. Those scenes following the first days of the deadly December tornadoes in western Kentucky are playing out again just months later. This time, another state of emergency. Flags at half-staff, at least 35 lives lost as the eastern part of the Commonwealth battles flooding.
All donations appreciated.
Groups from Louisville, like the Veterans Club, are once again answering the call to help. Collecting food, water, diapers, generators, and more, preparing to head toward Mountain Parkway Tuesday morning.
Whatever the needs are of the community, we're going to stay and do that.
Another Louisvillian who's helped in western Kentucky, the owner of Ramiro's Cantina, is headed back out, this time going east.
When the tornado happened, we were there, that night? So if this happens in your backyard, I'm going to be there.
One truck for water and pallets of drinks, the other providing food. Boxes of chicken leaving the restaurant. This is just the start. There will be enough here to hand out 1,000 meals.
One hot meal for somebody in need is a world of difference.
The building on Frankfort Avenue is closed Monday and Tuesday because of the trip. But those here say they know they're needed elsewhere.
I know it's time consuming and of course it costs a lot of money, but this is my community. This is my state. I'm here to help.
The food truck will likely be in eastern Kentucky until Wednesday. Darby Bean, WDRB News.
Volunteers like those with Ramiro's Cantina tell us the amount they're able to give back will largely depend on donations.
Between the fuel to travel and the food to prepare, the restaurant's asking for those who are able to donate. Here's the information there on your screen how to do that. Ramiro's hopes to make several trips to eastern Kentucky in the coming weeks to serve more hot meals.
If donations start coming in, I mean, we might try to figure how to go back next week or in 2 weeks. But if the donations don't come in, I can't afford it all this by myself.
Veterans Club is asking for physical items like water bottles instead of monetary donations. There's also a Team Kentucky Relief Fund set up through the state. You'll find that website on ours, WDRB.com.
And WDRB will continue to highlight the recovery efforts in eastern Kentucky. Tonight at 10:30, we'll take you to Breathitt County and show you more of that destruction up close.
Then at 11, the flooding to our east is bringing back memories for our neighbors in southern Indiana. The survivors of the 1992 flood in Henryville reflect on that devastation. Their message to those struggling now.
For all of our coverage, including more pictures and videos, just go to our website, WDRB.com.
As the community in the state really begins or continues to deal with the flooding, we are going to start seeing the mercury just ratchet off the charts.
I think we're going to see things getting a little bit warmer. You know, the one thing I would say by what we saw in December versus what we see now, it makes me proud to be a part of this community. I just think it's worth saying. I mean, we have seen some incredible, catastrophic and violent weather here over the last 8 months. And it is comforting to me to see how our community helps the neighbors, because these really are, this is family, and these are friends in our states around our area. So as we look around the area right now, we have a severe thunderstorm watch, and I know that a lot are tuning in tonight to find out, do I need to be concerned? So the watch was canceled for Louisville till 11 for Du Bois. Perry County includes Breckenridge and Grayson County until 11 p.m. I will tell you, I was very forthcoming in that I would have included a slight risk in our area, and I will tell you, I still think it's the right move. All of that said, two things to look. One near Frankfort, as you see a storm starting to form now, and you're like, wait a minute. There were storms here at 4 o'clock when you showed me these earlier, Mark. Correct. Over 8 inches of rain has fallen, with flash flood warnings in effect for Illinois. Severe thunderstorms have moved through Evansville on multiple occasions, and you can see strong thunderstorms remain to the west. I do think it's worth noting that there is one thunderstorm near the Lexington, south of Frankfort area developing. So what's stopping this within our area? I mean, it's a fair question. The fuel is obscene to the west, and that is where the storms are chasing as it stands right now. And so I want to show you the high-resolution data. Not that it has been great today, but I still think it's worth looking at. And you'll notice that the data does show scattered thunderstorms as we go through the overnight hours. And I still think it's worth a 50%. I'm not going to play this as 100%. And I will be clear, this isn't a low certainty style forecast, but a 50% chance at 3 a.m. At 7 a.m. we're 74 degrees and it's humid. And I think we'll see more thunderstorms through the week. So I'll dial in that timeline in 10 minutes.
Now on WDRB News.
I got hit, dude.
New body camera video from the police shooting in Shawnee Park. Tonight, we walk you through it and introduce you to the officers LMPD says fired their weapons.
A man is accused of hitting a Kansas family and killing the father in downtown Louisville.
No family should ever have to go through this.
Why police say a witness tore his shirt off him at the scene.
An LMPD raid ends with the wrong couple in handcuffs. WDRB investigates the questions it's raised about police training to serve warrants.
Drop the gun!
First at 10 tonight, newly released body camera video from the police shooting Sunday at Shawnee Park.
The department also revealed the names of the 5 officers involved in the shooting. We will walk you through their history in a moment.
And also new tonight, Herbert Lee, the man police shot, is out of the hospital and in jail. And we've obtained court records revealing new information on why officers were chasing him through the park.
But first to that footage, WDRB's Conroy Deluche and photojournalist Ian Cunningham have been going through it for hours.
Conroy, LMPD released about 3 minutes of body cam footage today in sections, and there is a significant piece of it that is missing.
That's right. We never actually see or hear Herbert Lee, the suspect, fire off any gunshots. LMPD says he shot at officers first. In this frame behind me, you can see Lee pointing an object toward them. Then the officers in frame opened fire, and Lee fell to the ground. There's about a 10-second gap in footage after that before Officer Joshua Pickering realizes that he was shot in the ballistic vest. Lee is standing up as officers yelled.
Drop the gun!
There's at least a dozen more gunshots, and about 2 minutes later, police approached Lee and say they removed a gun from the ground next to him before applying first aid. There are several gaps in the footage LMPD released. The department says that it's working as quickly as possible to comply with the law and get the full video out. The department is citing a statute allowing agencies to redact personal information that would be an invasion of privacy for not releasing the raw video as it has in the past.
All right, so Conroy, we know that Lee was wanted on several charges before the chase and the shooting. What did you learn about those cases tonight?
That's right, and we've obtained those warrants and police were serving. Interestingly enough, it ties back to another incident at Shawnee Park. Court records say that in April, Lee approached an ex-girlfriend's vehicle at the park, pounded on the window, and then followed her as she drove away, eventually colliding into her car on purpose. It violated a prior stay-away order from a strangulation case in 2020. Lee was also accused of stealing rent payments from night drop boxes at Royal Gardens and Whispering Hills Apartments. Police say he altered those money orders and was captured on video cashing them in throughout the city. Lee is scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow at 9 a.m. Conroy DeLuche, WDRB News.
All right, Conroy, thank you. And these are the 5 LMPD officers involved in the shooting at Shawnee Park. Daniel Burnett and Nicholas Holcamp joined the department in 2020. Officer Richard Williams has been on the department for more than 15 years. We don't know how long Joel Volker and Joshua Pickering have been with LMPD. Between the 5 officers, they have 15 letters of commendation. Both officers, Holcamp and Volker, have 5 each. Only Williams has a letter of reprimand, and that was for missing a court date 10 years ago. For more on the shooting at Shawnee Park, including the partial body cam video LMPD sent today and more on the officers, just head to WDRB.com.
Well, this man is accused of driving high and running over a family in downtown Louisville, and police say he never even checked to see if his victims were hurt. WDRB's Hayden Restevsky reveals the new evidence presented in court this afternoon. Hayden?
Gilbert and LMPD officers' testimony today shed new light on what happened before and after that crash. The Jones family was in town for a basketball tournament last week when they were hit by a car at 2nd and Market Streets. Police say 33-year-old Michael Hurley was behind the wheel and admitted he had just taken hydrocodone. LMPD is piecing together what happened with video from traffic cameras in court today. An officer said cameras captured Hurley swerving several times. He said Hurley ran a red light and jumped a curb before hitting the family. He continued driving on the sidewalk for about 30 yards before stopping. Trey Jones died from his injuries. His wife, Amy, and daughter, Ava, are still in critical condition. His son was hurt but released from the hospital.
No family should ever have to go through this. And this man should not be allowed to ever do it to another family.
Police say they have video showing Hurley stepping over Amy several times after the crash without checking on her. Investigators believe a witness took Hurley's shirt to try to stop the bleeding. Officers say Hurley opened his trunk, grabbed another shirt, and sat on the back of his car. WDRB captured video that shows him just sitting there after the crash. Hurley is charged with murder, assault, and OUI. Hayden Restevsky, WDRB News.
All right, Hayden, thank you. The only officer who faced charges in the raid on Breonna Taylor's apartment had his case erased from the public record.
Brett Hankerson was charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment for bullets he fired into a neighboring apartment. A jury acquitted him on all charges. As part of a Kentucky law that passed in 2020, criminal cases where a defendant is found not guilty are automatically expunged or erased from the record. The court records from the case are now sealed from the public forever.
Mark Weinberg's WDRB weather forecast has the seal of approval from the American Meteorological Society.
Seems like a lot of people are wanting rain on their lawns right now, and some people, not everyone, got that.
We saw 0.3 of an inch of rain in E-Town. The problem is it fell really hard, ran off, sun came out, and then that evaporates. And it really is not the kind of rain that can help when you're in a drought. So as we look around our area, look, those showers have now pulled away from our area. You can see they've made their cross from Bowling Green along the Kentucky-Tennessee line now into Tennessee. And so what this has done is left us with mostly clear skies as we look across our area. Currently, we're sitting at a temperature of 82. We've got a nice northeasterly breeze at 7 miles an hour, and the dew point being low at 62 feels pretty good. I think we're going to be able to keep these mostly clear skies as we move through the overnight hours, and you can see advanced track really does show that. Here's a stop around 3 a.m. at around 70, and wait, we're going to get some comfortable 60s during the overnight hours. Look at the northern part of our area getting close to 50s. So the clear skies and light winds allow the heat of the afternoon to escape to space, and we cool nicely. 3 a.m. 73 degrees, and 7 a.m. you're at 68. We do still need some rain. I think we've got an opportunity this weekend, and I want to dial in that timeline for storms in 10 minutes.